this world goodbye. Not afraid to close my eyes and die. Oh, the courage I have prayed. In His arms I'm not afraid. When I cross that silent sea, where the home lies facing me, I feel no pain, I fear no harm. Saint secure in Jesus' arms. Not afraid to bid this world goodbye. Not afraid to close my eyes and die. For the courage I have prayed. In His arms I'm not afraid. Not afraid to bid this world goodbye. Not afraid to close my eyes and die. For the courage I have prayed. In His arms I'm not afraid.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is I hope you enjoyed the song there by Ralph Stanley. I'm in His arms, I'm not afraid. But anyway, it's about 1:13 here in Central Indiana, and I've been watching the news all week and things posted on Facebook. And first thing I'm going to say is I would not apologize for anything said in this video, okay? Because I present the truth about things. First of all, at a Black Matters movement thing, they was insulting capitalism, which is, of course, what the American life is, capitalism. And they was talking about destroying the White House and killing whites and all sorts of horrible things. I would not dare use the language that they was using because it ruined my testimony. Okay, but and they even made a remark about shooting Trump. Okay, and I noticed that several of the speakers were Islamic men. So Islam is somewhat empowering the Black Lives Matter, the movement. Okay, so it's I think it should be declared a terrorist organization. Now, one thing about Islam is Sharia law is the very foundation of Islam. If there was no Sharia law, there would be no Islam. Sharia laws is just more than a law. It is a part of an Islamic subversive government. Okay, it is what rules in Islamic countries. It's what put fear, as they said, it puts fear into the infidel. And now Islam has been banned in this country at least 5 times. But the main one that everybody remembers is when Jimmy Carter, not Jimmy Carter, but Harry S. Truman banned it in 1952 for the very reason that it was a subversive form of government. And I think that's a good description of it, because that's what it is. A subversive form of government. And I've been reading on Facebook where it says that Sharia has been banned in the United States, but I have not seen no official posting on Facebook from the White House saying that it is. But it needs to be. If you ban Sharia law, the Muslims will leave. Because in a poll taken, 75% of the current Muslims that live in the United States want Sharia law. And because it is a subversive form of government, and by federal law and U.S. code, any form of subversive government is banned in the United States. Now, Islam has often used the thing that Islam's a religion, and therefore under the freedom of religion in the First Amendment, they have the right to be here. But if they believe in Sharia law, they're violating the United States laws. Okay. Even JFK back in the 60s banned Islam. And then Jimmy Carter banned certain Islamic countries when he was in office. And even Obama banned certain Islamic countries when he was in office. But it was not widely publicized that he did that. So, we've had past presidents that understand what Islam is. It's a subversive form of government. Muslims should not be in any government office in the United States if they believe in Sharia law. Because that type of law is subversive and it's banned by U.S. code and by the United States Constitution. If they're going to, they have been into many countries in the ruse of using a religion so they can get into the government and take control. In the United Kingdom and the EU, France, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, they are start beginning to be attacked by Muslim extremists. And it is destroying all those countries. Now, stations like CNN, NBC, CSNBC, most of your major networks are not saying a thing about the atrocities being performed by radical Islamists across the Great Pond. But last year alone, there was 600,000 stabbings in the United Kingdom, resulting in 7,000 deaths. And these stabbings were mostly done, I'd say 90% of them, was Islamic related. Now, Islam is known as the religion of the sword. Because one Islam said the only thing that separates Christians and them is a sword. Okay? Islam has been known as the religion of the sword. But the atrocities there are unspeakable. I have video feeds, so I can check things out over there. But it's a mess, and most of the past history of shootings in the United States, 99% of them are Islamic extremists related. Now, since Europe is not armed, since Germany is not armed, the citizens of those countries have no means to defend themselves whatsoever. There's just no means for the people in the United Kingdom to defend themselves because they was disarmed. Now, America is a very heavily armed country. And there's just about as many firearms in this country as there are people. And Islam has never tried to overthrow a well-armed country yet. I mean, they've overthrown government armies, in the Middle East and things like that, but they have never tackled a whole entire country of armed civilians, plus the military. They have never done that. So, if they want to rule the United States, they have a fight on their hands. Because we are not afraid to shoot back. Christians in America are not afraid to shoot back. If you want to call that Christian militancy, you can call it that. Go ahead. But we believe in the protection of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and the safety of our families. And the Bible says that a person that is not going to take care of their family is worse than an infidel. So that means that you, under biblical law, have the right to defend yourself against Islam. And even Jesus said, if you need a sword, go out and sell your cloak and buy one. Well, in America, we buy guns. I don't think we have to sell our coats or anything. I don't think we have to sell our coats or anything to do that. But anyway, in America, the choice of weapons is firearms. But a message to Mr. Trump in Washington, D.C. First of all, I think you're doing a great job. And Democratic Party and the liberals are just showing how much of a donkey they are. I'm not going to use the other word, okay? But it's just showing how much of a donkey that they are. Liberalism has snuck into our schools and our colleges, and they're producing little whimpering crybabies. Now, my greatest fear is that if this country should be attacked, whether it's by Islam, China, Russia, or whatever, are these crybabies going to defend themselves? Or would they be willing to volunteer in our military to defend this country? That's a big issue. This is a American company. We are a democracy and a republic. And we're capitalist. Now, if you're not a capitalist, you're either one of two things. You're either a socialist or you're Muslim. Okay? Socialism does not work. Even Vladimir Putin has said that. He's changed the way that the country has been run. If you want to see socialism in action, go to China, go to North Korea, go to parts in the Central Americans, and you'll see what socialism is. The people in socialism, the people become totally dependent upon the government. The government is supposed to provide their food, lodging, water, housing, and everything. The only problem with that is the government runs out of money. And then Venezuela, I think is how it's pronounced. I ain't never tried to pronounce that word. They are in a total state of anarchy because of food shortages, water shortages, stores being emptied, and the people are up in arms with whatever they can fight with to denounce this government over there. And if you want to see North Korea, check some satellite feeds of that area, North Korea and South Korea, and you'll see, based on a nighttime picture, and you'll see all kinds of lights in South Korea. But when you go past the demilitarized zone over there, there are very few lights on in that country. That's just how bad socialism is there. China today is even still killing Christians. It is a capital offense to own a Bible, both in North Korea and China. Or should I say parts of China. But especially North Korea, to be a Christian in North Korea is a death sentence. To possess a Bible, there is a death sentence. So what I'm pointing out is, Mr. Trump, if you see this video, the best way to tackle Islam in this country is to ban Sharia law nationwide, all 50 states. You ban Sharia law and the Muslims will leave. Because Sharia law is the very foundation of Islam. Without it, Islam would not exist. Because without Sharia law, the women would be, rebel against the men and probably kill them. But under Sharia law, the men are allowed to beat their wives and all that sort of stuff. Honor killings of your children. But if they didn't have those laws, if they didn't have Sharia, Islam would not exist today. Sharia law is a mixture of laws from the Torah, and some from the New Testament, and some from other religions like Moloch and Baal. Anyway, Islam is a makeup of 5 different religions all put into one. That's a much longer tape there. But if Trump wants to do something about Islam, Sharia law must be banned. It's not just a law. Sharia is a form of government. It has its judicial, executive, and I think anyway, it has the main 3 types of things that we have in our country: the judicial branch, legislative branch, and the executive branch. Okay, finally got it. And Sharia law itself is all that put together. It is a form of government, not just a law. And the sooner that we realize that, the better off we will be. Now I know that 16 states have banned Sharia law, or they are in the process of banning Sharia law. But it needs to be banned nationwide. Now, if Muslims want to worship Allah as a religion and leave out Sharia law, that's fine. But when you put Sharia law in there, it's a violation of the Constitution of the United States. And if Obama, if I was Trump, I'd have every mosque in this country raided by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and checked for weapons grade armory, okay, or military grade weapons. Because over in France, and even in Germany, when they've done the checking a mosque there, 80% of the mosques in the United Kingdom had military grade weapons inside the mosque. Or if it's not in the mosque, they have been found in buildings by the mosque. And I can bet that most of the mosques in the United States have weapons. Obama protected mosques from being searched by the FBI. He forbid it. But Mr. Trump, if you're watching this video, this needs to be done. Radical Islam is militant. The Black Lives Matter is militant. The new Black Panther Party is militant. And they all need to be dealt with. Islam has especially entwined itself in the Black Lives Movement. And a lot of these are black Muslims from what's that country? Starts with an S. Anyway, Somalia, I guess was the name of it, how it's pronounced. But anyway, the teachings of, Sharia is a religion. It's a law for the man, because the man can get away with anything. And the testimony of a woman is worth half of what a man's is. And to, under Islamic law, to claim, if you're a woman and you claim to be raped, there has to be 4 witnesses that saw the rape. And more than likely, they will go ahead and stone you for fornication. Part of the Islamic radical teaching is that, if a woman is raped before she is killed, it guarantees a place for her in hell. That's part of the teaching of Islamic law. And we need to get that across to this country. So Islam is not, Islam by itself would be okay. But it's the Sharia law that makes it illegal. I mean, if somebody wants to worship a pagan god, that's fine. I myself would prefer not to, but you do have freedom of religion in this country. And if they want to worship Allah, which is actually Satan, they have the right to do that. Now, when they go imposing Sharia law on us, that is a violation of federal laws, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Federalist Papers. It is a violation of United States regulations. And no Muslim should be allowed in the United States government or state government or even local governments. Because that is one of their methods of gaining control of the country. Now, when Obama was in office, almost all of his cabinet were Muslims. They were members of CAIR, the ISNA, the Muslim Brotherhood. Even Obama's chief advisor, Valerie Garrett, was from Iran, and she was a Muslim. If we had not stopped Obama, this country would be in serious, serious trouble. People don't realize how much trouble this country would be in, because these organizations had a very strong hold and they were plotting. As I watched this video of one woman that was a former Islamist, and she showed the proof in paperwork that was printed in 1991, showing the plan of how Islam was going to conquer the United States. That is the goal of Islam. In any country that it exists in. Now, you got countries like Saudi Arabia and Egypt that claim, they're not terrorist groups in those countries. But they still follow Sharia law, and people still get beheaded or hung or set on fire. Even though they claim to be quiet countries. And why is it, in Saudi Arabia, there are 10 million tents set up outside the city of Mecca with air conditioning in them, and those refugees could stay there in those air-conditioned tents. But Saudi Arabia will not allow them there out of fear of terrorism. Now, when an Islamic country fears terrorism, then it's stupid for us to allow it. I mean, when the Saudi government or the Egyptian government or Syria government fears terrorism and Islamic terrorism, that sends a message right there. Hey, why is the United States doing this? Why are we allowing these refugees to come into this country? If their own countries won't take them, it is stupid that we do. Now, I know that the thing about the Statue of Liberty, give me all your poor, your weak, and whatever, however that's said. Immigrants is what helped made up this country. But they were not radical immigrants. Okay? I have no problems with immigrants coming into this country as long as they do it through the legal process, and they're checked out, and they get the proper visas, and they stay there 5 years or whatever the case might be, and then they can either go home or they can apply for United States citizenship. So this situation, everybody else is mad at us because we will not take in refugees. But all they got to do is look over in England and Scotland and southern part of Ireland and Italy, Germany and France, and they will see the destruction that these Islamic radicals have done to historical sites. In Italy, they've even damaged part of the Colosseum, which is a major landmark there. Setting cars on fire. Trump protesters being attacked here in the United States just because they voted for Trump. Or because they're white. Tells you the danger that this country's in. And it was Obama's plan to disarm this country. Paperwork was already signed with the UN. And if he would have remained in office, it would have happened. But based upon our restrictions, you only run 2 terms, that's what saved this country from destruction. Obama even threatened to run a 3rd term. And he said if he did, people would vote for him again. But I say that's hogwash, because he did nothing at all to help the blacks, like he promised. He did nothing to help them. As a matter of fact, he made their situation worse in Detroit and parts of Chicago. The Democratic Party is what has enslaved the black race and kept them poor, living in poor conditions, and these Democratic representatives are just rolling the dough in, but they're not giving it to the cities that need it. Obama wanted to keep the black poorer, so eventually that they would rebel, and they are starting to do that. Now, if somebody was to ask me, if a complete stranger would ask me today what president I voted for, I would say it's none of their business. Okay? And that's what other people should say also. They should say, well, I voted for Trump. Just tell them it's none of their business who you voted for. Because it's not. Trump's doing a fantastic job, I think. I hope he gets the judge that he wants in office that will uphold the Constitution. That's the problem with this country. You know, I don't think that the Supreme Court justices should have a lifetime term in office. I would say 8 years at the most. Because people that's been in office, you know, we got senators that's been in office 30 or 40 years, and they are set in their ways, and they will not change for nothing. The Democratic Party in this country is anti-American. Understand that. They've been influenced by socialism. They've been influenced by Islam, and the Democratic Party. My brother may kick my butt for this, because I had posted that the Democratic Party was communist, and he didn't like it because he's a Democrat. Well, let's get real here, people. The Democratic Socialist Party of America does exist. Look it up in Google. Okay? 75% of the Democratic Party belong to that organization. I understand that. The greatest fear of John F. Kennedy has occurred in this country. He feared communist infiltration of the federal government, and he was killed for it. That and a few other reasons. But his greatest fear has happened. And unfortunately, we are living in a time when we see just how corrupt these people are. Trump is getting opposition for everything he has done. But Obama did some of the same things that he's doing, and he didn't get no static. When Obama banned certain Islamic countries, he didn't get no protest. That's because it was hidden by the mainstream media. CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, CSNBC should all lose their licenses from the SEC, or at least get suspended for a while for producing fake news. In old-time Germany, the media ran the country by putting out false truths about the Jews. And the parallels between the United States and Germany is unbelievable. What started in Germany and what has started here. Man is supposed to learn from their mistakes that they've made in past history, but evidently there are those that have not. And it is sad. When elected officials do not do what they voted for, this last Congress under Obama was a disaster. They just probably shouldn't have even been there, because they did absolutely, the last Congress did absolutely nothing for this country. The only notable thing that the past Congress has done under Obama was they started Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, which is not even affordable. And I can say that's the only thing that Congress accomplished in the past 8 years. On both the Republican and the Democratic side. Now, the Republicans did not vote for Obamacare at all. And the only reason that became law was there was a majority of Democrats in the House and in the Senate. That's the only reason that passed. But not one single Republican voted for Obamacare. So that just tells the story right there. Trump's doing a great job. J.C. Carson, a 14-year-old, tells it like it is too. I like him as a matter of fact. But hopefully someday he will run for office, because he's one sensible kid. It's amazing. Okay, he must have great parents. But the way that things are going on in this country is horrifying. But the main thing, for you Indiana state legislators out there, make sure that Sharia law is soundly banned in Indiana. I don't care how many laws you have to make to do it. Illinois has 200 mosques, and they're building more. So I have a feeling that Illinois is going to become the Islamic center of America. And it's right here in the heartland of America. The only state that has more mosques is California. So that's that's just the way we need to pray for our leaders, and to do things right. I admire Trump's Christian stand. I'd like to talk to the man myself, actually, and give him a better understanding of the things that he does not know about Islam. Now, I'm not no Islamic scholar. I don't have a degree or certificate on on the studies of Islam, but I have studied the religion for 11 years as a hobby, and I've done a lot of research of research and reading in that 11-year time. I don't have a master's or bachelor's degree in Islam, but I know enough about it to present the truth. Now, there's opposition from the United Kingdom to have President Trump visit England. Just squabbling back and forth whether he should visit or not. They have their own Democratic Party over there, and the Democratic Party over there don't want him over there, but the Queen would like to see him. And the mayor of the city of London is a Muslim. Now, how that happened, I do not understand. But I also know for a fact that the Islamic Party in the United States is forming their own political party for the next election. CARE, the ISNA, the MOA, and all these different organizations are working on a Muslim political party in this country. But so far, Trump has done the right thing, even though he's been ridiculed, stomped on, threatened to be assassinated. He's holding firm in what he does. And that's what a man is supposed to do. If you say you're going to do something, it should be, your word is your honor, okay? And to my knowledge, Trump has not lied about anything yet. I think he's doing a good job. I think former Governor Pence is doing a great job too. They're putting a mosque in Israel, a U.S. embassy in Israel, in Jerusalem, is going to be a big, big issue. Because the countries of Iran and some of those other radical countries says if Trump puts the embassy in Jerusalem, it's going to mean war. Well, I got news for you. The United States has been at war with Islam since 1778, when our Marines kicked their butts into another dimension, okay? So that's how long we have been fighting Islam. The Leathernecks, that's how the Marines got the name Leathernecks, was because they wore leather around their necks to keep them from being beheaded. That's how they got that name. Now, in one way or another, we have been fighting Islam since then. Okay? So we have been at war with Islam, even though it's not officially declared, but we have been. So as far as the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem, that remains to be seen. Because once again, the Democratic Party is afraid it's going to endanger the United States. They're scaredy cats. The Democratic Party are cowards, okay? Because they will not do what is right. They did not do what was right when Obama was in office. Or Clinton. And I could go on down to both Bushes and just keep going down there. Men with integrity in Congress is becoming a rarity. Now you tell me how a congressman can live on $174,000 a year, be in office 4 years, And by the time he's out of office, he's a millionaire or a billionaire on that salary. And now you tell me, how does that happen? Money is coming from somewhere. So it's a bad thing. So I'm going to get up here because I think I'm running out of time. But God bless you. And if you'd like for me to speak at the church, I'd be glad to do that. But, you know, I'm just revealing facts here, okay? But anyway, y'all have a blessed day, have a blessed week. May God richly bless you and give you the strength that you need in this time, okay? So, if someone's offended by this tape, I don't care, okay? Because the truth has to be told. The Bible says the truth shall set you free. A uneducated population is the worst thing that there can be, because it almost guarantees to overthrow the country. They're having an issue whether cursive should be in school anymore. That should not even be an issue. Okay? That's just how dumb things has gotten in this country. But hopefully we'll see better times coming. And may the Lord bless and keep you. Have a nice day, and thank you for listening.